Hello everyone, welcome to Practically's NEET class for biology. Okay, so I hope you had a very good day today, and today we will be learning about the morphology of a flowering plant. Now, in the previous classes, we have actually discussed about, you can see the previous videos and you can actually see what we have discussed. We have discussed about the roots and the stems. We've discussed about leaves, and we've also discussed about the flowers and everything. So what we are left today is the fruits and the seed, and we'll learn a little bit about the floral formula. Okay. Now the thing is, a lot of students tend to like miss out on the floral formula thing because it seems a bit difficult, but it is actually not that difficult. Okay. And you can also, it's quite interesting. It is, you have to learn it, okay, what to do and how to do it, how to manage it. And I'm very sure that it will be quite easy for you after we are done with this. Okay, so let's start with the morphology of flowering plant for fruits, seeds, and a little bit about the floral formula. Okay, so first let me tell you about us. We are from Practically, and we have an experiential app for the grades 6 to 12. And we have a lot of simulations. We have a lot of new things gets added in the apps every day. It's very fun. Okay, and a lot of things you can learn and you can test your knowledge as well. You can also follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our videos on YouTube. Okay, so as I said, we'll start with the fruits. We have in the previous videos, you can actually watch, like in the previous videos, we have talked about the leaves, roots, and the flowers and everything. Okay, and today we'll start with the fruits. Okay, so what is fruit? Fruit is nothing. Okay, after the fertilization, whatever happens in fertilization inside the flower, okay, it gives rise to a fruit. So what is it? A fruit is defined as the metamorphosed, okay, or ripened ovary. Okay, so the ovary gets transformed into the fruit. Okay, so after successful fertilization, an ovary develops into a form of fruit. Okay, so the ovary, there are lots of parts in the plant. No? When we were reading about the fertilization, okay, the androecium and the gynoecium, how from the filament and anthers, the pollen grain comes inside and forms pollen tubes and fertilizes the flower. Okay, so there are lots of parts, this fertilization. Okay, and from the ovary, it gives rise to the fruit. Okay, now sometimes the fertilization does not happen, artificial growing of plants and all, artificial growing of fruits. Sometimes there's no fertilization, and these without fertilization also sometimes the fruits grow, mostly artificial. When you can see, sometimes watermelon does not have seeds, or sometimes banana does not have seeds. Okay, and grapes do not have seeds. These seedless fruits, whatever you see, are actually parthenocarpic fruits. Okay, seedless fruits. Most of them, not everything, almost most of them, whatever we find in our markets and all, okay, seedless banana, seedless grapes and all, those are all parthenocarpic fruits. Okay, so when a fruit is developed exclusively only from the ovary, it is growing, only from the ovary it is growing, it is a true fruit, like a mango. So there'll be a ovary that will get developed into the ripe pulpy portion of the mango, and then will be a seed. Okay, so but that is a true fruit. But sometimes the other parts also, like thalamus or receptacle, okay, the other parts of the flowers, okay, sometimes they also become fruits. Okay, in some plants you can see that the other parts, instead of the ovary, the other parts are developing into a fruit. That time those are called false fruits or pseudocarps. Okay, so for example, apple, pear, okay, thalamus grows around the ovary and becomes the fleshy part. Okay, instead of the ovary, the thalamus grows into the fleshy part we eat, that off-white portion, the sweet portion what we eat, that is actually the thalamus which has grown into the fruit in apple. Okay, apple, pear, you can find that. Okay, so let's see who is there, who has come today. Okay, hello Rupesh. Okay, okay, no, your name is Karki. Good evening, very good evening. Okay, and I'm very glad that you have joined today. And if you have any doubts or anything, you can just come in the chat box and you can check it out, like what doubts you have. I can help you out with that. Okay, let's see. Now this is fruits. Now fruits are of a lot of parts. Fruits have a lot of parts. Okay, so the fruits have basically the pericarp. Okay, the fleshy, the part which we eat. Okay, the pericarp is which we eat, not the whole pericarp, part of which part of which we eat. Okay, and there is the seed. Okay, so this is the hardened part, whatever it is, the hardened part. Okay, and the seed is what carries the embryo. Okay, when we want to grow a new plant, what we do? We take a seed and we plant it. We give some fertilizer, we give some water, we put it in the soil. Okay, why? Because the seed carries the embryo. Okay, that is for the later discussion. Now we are only discussing about fruit. Okay, so pericarp, it is the wall of the fruit. Okay, it's the wall of a fruit which is developed from ovary. Okay, so this here you can see this is the seed. Okay, this stony thing is the seed. So we are right now we are not talking about it. We are talking about the outer portions. So there is the epicarp, the outer portion, okay, the covering which forms the skin or the protective covering. Okay, so the covering in mango, what we do, there's a cover, okay, like a strong cover we have which we have to cut it out. Okay, so that is the epicarp, the covering. Then there is the middle part or the mesocarp. Okay, the one which we eat. Here I'm looking at a peach. Okay, so this is the outer one. This fleshy part is the mesocarp which we eat. Okay, major pulpy or juicy part is the mesocarp. This is the one we eat. Okay, and finally there is endocarp. It is the inner wall of the fruit, which may be thin or membranous. Okay, that is the endocarp here. This is the seed. Just outside it, there is a thin membranous part. That is the endocarp. Okay, as in orange or hard and stony, as in mango. The hard stony part, not the seed. The hard stony outer portion of the seed is the endocarp. Okay. In some plants, pericarp is single and not differentiated. See, in some plants, it will have endocarp, mesocarp, epicarp, everything. Okay. But in some plants, it will only be a pericarp, just as pea, beans. Okay. They're just one part. There's no fleshy, there's no outer cover or anything. Okay. So those are, there are some parts like that. Okay. So let's see. Okay, if you have any question or any doubts, okay, just put it on the chat box and I'm sure I'll be able to help you out. Okay, so let's start. Now, after the parts of the fruits, now this parts of the fruit, there are some classifications of the fruit as well. Okay, so the fruits can be actually classified into a simple fruit. Okay, simple fruit also has like some like differentiation. Okay, then there is aggregate fruit. Okay, and then there is composite fruit. Now these differentiation, simple, aggregate, composite, it depends on how the flower is. Okay, how the flower is. If it was a bit simple, then it will give to a simple fruit, give rise to a simple fruit. If it was a bit complicated complicated flower, okay, it will give rise to a bit complicated fruit. Okay, so all these fruits depend on how the flower was. Okay, as I said, simple flowers give rise to simple fruits, a bit complicated one, complicated fruit. Okay, so that is how we decide how fruits are. So the simple fruits Okay, when the ovary of a single flower with or without other accessories, okay, floral parts, like what is it? Okay, single flower, no petals. Okay, single flower is a petal, sepal, androecium, gynoecium. That gives rise to a fruit. Now, sometimes you take the thalamus, the pedicel, like that. Okay, so simple fruit is might take those parts or without. So one flower give rising to one fruit. That is the single fruit. One flower giving rise to one fruit. Okay, that is known as a simple fruit. Now, ovary may be the flower, the ovary, I told you ovary gives rise to the fruit. So, the ovary may be monocarpellary or polycarpellary. Monocarpal as in one carpel would be there. Okay, carpel, you know, we've read about it. Carpel is the part of the flower. So, there is one carpel. Polycarpal is many carpels. And syncarpus might be united. Okay, might be united. Like many carpels are there, but they have conjugated in one. Okay, so syncarpus is united carpels. Okay, it may be further divided into, as I said, a dry and fleshy fruits. Dry fruits are what? Dry fruits are those fruits which are not like not liquidy, which do not have juices. Okay, so those fruits are dry. Fleshy, on the other hand, are juicy. Okay, fleshy can be what? Fruits can be fleshy. Mango can be fleshy, right? It has pulps, it has juices. Okay, so dries are so cotton, pea, lady's finger. These are all dry fruits. Okay, although lady's finger is a vegetable, but we are considering a fruit. Okay, and fleshy, as I said, mango, guava, tomato, they're all, when you cut it, there's some liquidy thing coming out. It's a bit liquidy. So when you feel it only, you can say that time. Okay, so dry and fleshy. So in dry fruits, pericarp becomes dry and thin at maturity. The dry fruits are further divided into dehiscent and indehiscent. So there is dry and fleshy. Dry again becomes dehiscent, indehiscent. Okay. And on the basis of presence of natural dehiscence, breaking of the pericarp at maturity. So we'll discuss C. So this is a dry fruit, as I said. Okay. No pulp. Okay. Coat becomes dry at maturity. The coat, that is the pericarp thing, that becomes dry at maturity. So what the dry fruits itself are divided into dehiscent fruits and indehiscent fruits. What are dehiscent fruits? Dry fruits which at maturity open by definite natural means. They open up. You know peas, right? Peas, what we do, what we do when we eat it, we open it and take it. Okay, so at maturity it opens up. Okay, such as pumpkins, nuts, peas, these are all openable. We eat the inner portion, right? So openable. So when it is indehiscent, the fruits which do not open, okay, such as sunflowers, dandelions, okay, they do not open. See, in the figure only you can see these are the dehiscent. Okay, see, there is peas, they open. Okay, now on the other hand, indehiscent, see, hazelnut, they don't open. Wheat, not opening. This is dandelion, they don't open. So when it opens, it becomes dehiscent. When it keep open, only in maturity they'll be opening. Okay, so when it is opening, they'll be dehiscent. When it is closed, at that time, it will be indehiscent. Okay, so again, I'll keep checking the chat box. If you have any doubts, please let me know. Okay, so next is the fleshy fruits. Now we are done with dry. Fleshy, dry was what? It was non-pulpy, okay, non-fruit kind of. Okay, fleshy is with pulp. Okay, not everything, but like it is kind of juicy. In a very layman term, I'm saying it is juicy in nature. Okay, so a fruit in which wall becomes soft and fleshy as it matures. Okay, so when it matures, it becomes juicy and fleshy. That also, there we had, okay, in dry we had dehiscent, indehiscent. In fleshy we have drupe, berry, and pome. Okay, so this is a drupe, the peach is a drupe, pome is an apple, berry is a grape. See, why are we differentiating it? Let's see. What is a drupe? One-seeded simple fruit developed from superior ovary in which the innermost portion of the wall, endocarp, becomes hard and outermost becomes exocarp. So this is a normal fruit, whatever we described. This is a normal. Inner portion is endocarp, outer portion is exocarp. Then we have the fleshy thing, which is the mesocarp. Okay. So this is a normal fleshy fruit, we said. Okay. What happens when it is a berry? A simple fruit in which the ovary wall, or at least its inner portions, become enlarged. Okay. So what happens here? The endocarp enlarges. Okay. Except like when there is endocarp, mesocarp, pericarp, like endocarp, mesocarp, epicarp, like that, that is a normal fruit. Here, the endocarp enlarges. Okay. Here in the berry, as you can see, the endocarp will enlarge. Okay. And then what happens in a pome? An accessory flesh fruit formed by a group of carpels or more or less firmly unite each other. So what happens here? It's like an accessory. Okay. So instead of the ovary giving rise, what happens? Something, an accessory part, an extra part, sometimes thalamus or something, they give rise to the another part gives rise to the fruit. Okay. So when some other part is giving rise to the fruit, that becomes a pome. Okay. So there is drupe, a normal fruit, epicarp, mesocarp, endocarp. Then there is berry where the endocarp is enlarged. And then there is pome where the ovary isn't working at all. This is some accessory giving rise to a fruit apart from the ovary. That is a pome. Okay. I hope you realized. Okay. Okay. I can explain what is an indehiscent. See. Dry fruit, as I said, no pulp, it's not juicy. Okay. Dehiscent, what happens? It opens. Okay. When it's mature, like peas, they open up at maturing. It is covered, the fruits are covered, they have an external covering, they open up. Okay. That is the dehiscent. But indehiscent, what happens? They are covered and they don't open up at all. Okay. Even during maturity, they don't open up. Such as what? Such as dandelion fruit. Okay. Sunflower. Okay. Sunflower gives rise to a fruit which has seeds, but they don't open up. Okay. Not like you have to open it. Okay. But like they don't open up naturally. When it doesn't open up naturally, that becomes an indehiscent fruit. Okay. I hope you understood it. Okay. Let's go on. So we're done with fleshy fruits also. Now that is the simple fruit. Till now we were discussing about simple fruit. Now comes aggregate fruits. What happens in aggregate fruits? A fruit develops from polycarpillary apocarpus gynoecium. Polycarpillary apocarpus. What is it? Polycarpillary as in many carpels. Okay. Apocarpus, okay, they are separated. Carpels are separated. So there are many carpels here. This is whatever I found here. It is a picture of a custard apple flower. Okay, so the flower, when you open it, it looks like this here. Okay, so as you can see, there are carpels and there are many small carpels. Okay, and they are all separated. So when there are carpels, but a lot of them are separated, and when they give rise to a fruit, they all come together to give rise to a fruit. Okay, so gynoecium has a lot of carpels, but are all separated. Okay, in a single flower, that gives rise to an aggregate fruit or Embryo. Okay, see, custard apple is an example. When you eat custard apple, what happens? You can see when you open this part will come out. When you open this part will come out. So those carpels, okay, different carpels gives rise to different parts of a custard apple. Okay, so carpels are free, and ovary of each carpel develops into the small fruitlet. Okay, so here you can see custard apple. Okay, these have parts, these round things, they have parts. These are the fruitlets. Okay, small part of a custard apple. They are fruitlets. Okay, so that is what is a fruitlet. A collection or a group of simple fruitlets make an aggregate fruit. So what I said here, these are the parts, they come together and give rise to an aggregate fruit. So just remember this. There are carpels, a lot of carpels, small carpels. Okay, they give rise to, so each of the carpel has each ovary. Okay, they come together to form fruit. Okay, now they are all together, they form fruit, and the small parts are known as fruitlets. Okay, so an aggregate fruit is further divided into on types of characters of fruitlets. Okay, again you can divide it into different parts. In custard apple, that is Annona squamosa, the apices of all fruitlets become thick, hard, and fuse along their margins. Okay, so as I said, these are the fruitlets. Okay, they in the outside, what they just become solid and they form a whole fruit. As you can see, the outer covering is very solid in nature, very strong in nature. They just solidify and they form a proper fruit. Okay, so that is what aggregate fruit means. Next, this is the composite. Okay, we are done with the simple fruit, we're done with the composite aggregate fruits. Now it is the composite fruits. A composite or a multiple fruit develops from entire inflorescence, the entire flower, like this, the inflorescence, whatever it is, this whole thing develops into a fruit. Okay, in such fruits, along with the ovaries and the other floral parts, the peduncle also takes part. So the entire inflorescence, the sepals, petals, the peduncle, thalamus, everything comes together. Okay, each and every part apart from the stem and the leaves, everything comes together and it forms a fruit. Okay, so for example, there is composite fruits are classified into soroses such as pineapple, etc., and cyconus. Okay, so the entire inflorescence comes together and becomes a fruit such as pineapple, jackfruit, mulberry, etc. Okay, I hope you understood it, and if you have any doubts, please put it in the chat box so that I'll be able to solve your queries. Okay, so next we'll talk about, okay, one second. Okay, I came out of the chat, 1 second. Okay, I'm here. So now we'll talk about seed. Okay, we are done with now. If you go back to the videos, you can find the roots, stems. We have talked about flowers, leaves. We have also, just now we talked about fruits. Now we'll talk about seeds. Okay, every time you think about it, every time you decide what is a type of a plant, you'll hear it a lot of times. You'll say monocot plant, dicot plant. What is this monocot? What is this dicot? Every time I hear it, there's a monocot plant and there's a dicot plant. So what are these monocots and what are these dicots? That it comes whenever we discuss about the seed, we'll find this. Okay, so let's see what a seed actually is. The seed is defined as the fertilized and metamorphosed ovule. The ovary becomes the fruit. The ovule becomes the seed. And this ovule has the embryo, which has the power to give rise to a plant. Okay, so this seed has the embryo which has the power to give rise to a plant. Okay, you take a seed whenever, just now I said it, whenever you want to grow a plant. Okay, you take a seed, you put it in the soil, you give it some fertilizer, you give it some water and see. It's like magic, it will give rise to a plant. Why? Because the seed has the embryo. Okay, so containing an embryo enclosed in resistant protective coats. Okay, where is my cursor? Yeah. Embryo enclosed in resistant protective coats. Seed is also described as the initial dormant stage of diploid sporophytic generation. Diploid why? Because it has two kinds of chromosomes. It is 2n, okay, of phanerogram. Phanerogams are what? We have discussed this so many times. Phanerogams are plants which gives rise to fruits, seeds, flowers, etc. Non-cryptogams are ones which do not give rise to flowers, fruits, seeds. Phanerogams gives rise to flower, fruits, and seeds. Okay, so these only phanerogams will give rise to a seed. Okay, so now as I said, why do we always hear this monocot and dicot, and what are the difference between monocot and dicot, and why are we always discussing about it? Okay, so first we'll learn about the dicot seed, dicotyledonous or dicot seed. Okay, so what is the difference between monocot and dicot? First we'll learn about the dicot. The outer thick and the resistant layer is called testa, and inner thin membranous layer is called tegmen. So the outer part, okay, the outer part is the testa, and the inner part, here the inner part, this is the tegmen. Okay, the seed is attached to inner wall of fruit by a small stalk called funicle at a point called hilum. See here, it is attached to the hilum here. Okay, the small pore present close to the hilum in the testa is called micropyle. See here, there is a small pore, okay, which is for nutrition, air, etc. Those things are this is what the pore helps in, that is known as the micropyle. Okay, there's also a ridge which may be seen in continuation with the hilum on the testa. There might be a ridge, although it is not seen over here, but there might be a ridge which is known as the rash. And enclosed within this seed coat, there is an embryo consisting of the tigellum and two cotyledons. See, this is the tigellum, okay, tigellum and the cotyledons. One cotyledon, second cotyledon. So dicot, two cotyledons. That is why when there are two cotyledons, that becomes dicot. Monocotyledons, monocot. Okay. So now next. So we have now in the previous one we discovered the outer covering. Now let's see the inner covering. So the contents enclosed within the seed coat are called kernel, Okay, the enclosed part is the kernel. Okay, embryo axis consists of two ends, radicle and plumule. Okay, here you can see, here is the plumule, here is the plumule above, and below is the radicle. Okay, what else? Cotyledons are attached to the embryo axis at a region which represents, okay, embryo, it's attached at the first node. The part of embryo axis between radicle and first node is called hypocotyl. See, where the attachment is there, okay, the first part, first node is called the hypocotyl, and between the plumule and the cotyledons, it is called epicotyl. So this part is the hypocotyl where it is attached, and above that there is the epicotyl. And most of the dicotyledonous seeds are called exalbuminous or non-endospermic because they lack, see, here you cannot see the endosperm at maturity. No endosperm. Endosperm is present in the monocot, okay, but the dicot does not have the endosperm at maturity. Okay, so that is the difference, one of the main difference, the endosperm goes off. So this is how a dicot looks, two parts, dicot. Now the monocot, okay, maize, corn, they're all one, there are no two parts in it. So those are monocotyledonous seeds or monocot. So what happens? The maize grain represents a single seeded fruit in which the seed coat, food wall, everything is inseparable. There it is separable. It's like this, it becomes this. Okay, but here it is inseparable. See, here it is inseparable. Okay, on one side of the grain, a small opaque whitish area is seen. Okay, the embryo lies inside. See, this is the embryo. Okay, a thin layer around the grain formed by fusion has the hull. Okay, and then the grain is divided into two unequal portions. See, there is the endosperm over there, and this is the cotyledon. So two unequal portions. The bigger portion is endosperm. Here you can see the bigger portion is endosperm, and the smaller portion, the cotyledon part, is the embryo. So the cotyledon part holds the embryo. Okay, and the endosperm is food storage. So what the endosperm, the speciality is, it is storing food. Okay, that is why it is there, just to store the nutrition. The embryo consists of single shield-shaped cotyledon and the axis. Okay. So shield-shaped like this, that is the scutellum or the embryo. The upper portion of the axis is the plumule. Okay, see, the plumule, and is surrounded by a protective sheath called coleoptile. Okay, so this is the plumule. Okay, and this protective sheath is the coleoptile. And there is the radicle, which has been protected by the coleorhiza. So the function of coleoptile and coleorhiza is protection. So this is the monocot seed. So dicot seed, you saw no endosperm, it divides into two. Here everything is just jam-packed into one part, okay? And it has the endosperm also, which collects the nutrition. And there are some plumules and radicles, but it is covered by a coleoptile and a coleorhiza. Okay, I hope you understood the monocot and the dicot parts, okay? And now we'll go into the floral formula and the floral diagram. Okay, something I want to say about the floral formula and floral diagram. Students, they tend to like omit the floral formula and floral diagram because obviously when you open a book and you see something 11th standard, you open a book in the first few pages only you see such floral formula and floral diagrams. What is this? What is that? Okay, you get scared and you just close it and go away. Okay, but this is a little bit wrong because each year, each and every year, there might be 1 or 2 questions pakka from the floral formula and the floral diagram, and it will be very easy. Okay, it will be basic. Like they'll give an example. Okay, mustard has what floral formula, and it will be directly from the book. Okay, mustard is from Brassicaceae family, and the floral formula is this much. So you have to see that. Just don't consider it as a very what to say, tough thing. Just see, just read it. Okay, you don't have to remember anything, just the formula and the examples. That is the only trick. I feel like this is a trick. Like in spite of like there are so many things there, in just omit those things and try to read what is the formula and what are the examples. Write it somewhere. These are the examples and this is the formula. You don't even have to remember the diagram also. If you feel like you should remember the diagram for your board exams and all, you can do that. But just to see, just to remember those things, NEET point of view, you can just remember the formula and the examples. And I feel like it will do. Okay, so that is just one trick I wanted to talk about. Okay, so what is this floral formula and floral diagram? Okay, so the thing is, there are flowers, we see flowers, and we know the parts of the flower. The flowers have petals. Okay, the flowers have sepals, which is holding the petals. There's the androecium, which is the male part. There is the gynoecium, which is the female part. Okay, so they are in each and every part, each and every flower has a different kind of a structure. Okay, but like similar kind of family of flowers have similar kind of structure. Just to give it a like a standardization, just to give it a standardization, we had to go for a floral formula. Okay, how it, we just saw it from up, a longitudinal section kind of a thing it will be, and we just show it from up and looked it up from up, and then we wrote the formula. Very easy. It won't be very difficult. If you just remember the codes, that will be all. Okay, so as I said, the various morphological features to describe the flowering plant. The description has to be brief in simple scientific language, just for the standardization. Okay, so what do? We, after describing various parts of the plant, a floral diagram and a floral formula are presented. We discussed everything. We discussed the leaves. We discussed all the plants of all the parts of flower. Okay, we have discussed the petals, sepals, stigma, style. We've discussed the anther, the filaments, everything we've discussed. Now, because we have discussed everything, we can now write the floral formula, which is represented by some symbols. Okay, and these are the symbols. Okay, very easy. You don't have to remember everything. It's not necessary to remember everything. I'll tell you. See, you remember bracteate and ebracteate. See, bracteate and bracteolate are almost the same thing. So bracteate, ebracteate. Remember the male. Okay, here, this is how the male sign looks. This is how the female sign looks. Most of the plants are bisexual. They have the male and the female part. So very easy, both. Then there is actinomorphic, how you separate the plants, how you separate the petals. So this is actinomorphic. This is zygomorphic, bilaterally. Okay. Epicalyx is AP, calyx is K, corolla is C. So petals. Okay. So calyx is the sepal, the green part, and corolla is the petals, the colorful part. Okay. So and then there is the perianth for the whole flower. Okay. There's the androecium A and the gynoecium G. And there is epiphyllus, epipetalus, like that. Okay. Then there are superior ovary and inferior ovary. We'll discuss about after this. Okay. So you remember the bracteates, the calyx corolla, the androecium gynoecium, okay, ovaries, and that will be it. And the male and the female, that's all. That's all you have to remember. Very easy. You just write it somewhere, okay, close your eyes, write it somewhere and close your eyes and try to remember. That's all. Okay. So let's see. What are the bracteates and the floral symmetry? I just wanted to like you to understand it. We have discussed it in the previous classes, but here also, since we are going to see what are the formulas, so I'll discuss it here also. What is a bracteate and ebracteate? Here we saw the first thing, bracteate BR and ebracteate EBR. So bracteate is when flowers have an extra part here. These are not leaves, but a leafy part you might have. Okay, that is known as a bract. And ebracteate is when that leafy part is not there. Okay, see, bracts are small leaf-like structures. So some of them, like China rose, tulip, lilies, they have an extra leafy part. Not the leaves, but this is kind of leafy. These are bracteate. And there is ebracteate, does not have it. No leafy part. Okay. Now floral symmetry, as I said, actinomorphic or zygomorphic. See, actinomorphic is this plus and a circle around it. Zygomorphic is a percentage. So what is actinomorphic, zygomorphic? When it is properly multiple lines of symmetry, you can cut. Okay, see this, this, this. Okay, so that is radially symmetrical. That is actinomorphic. Radially symmetrical how? When you see a circle, okay, pardon my circle. Suppose this is a circle, and from each and every median, you can separate it. That is radially symmetrical. Okay, and then the zygomorphic, actinomorphic is like this. Zygomorphic is like this, where it is bilaterally symmetrical. It can be just put into a half, such as this is a pea flower. It looks like somewhat like this. Okay, and just one part only you can do it. Any other part, if you try, it won't be equal. Okay, this is more, this is less. Here also, this is more, this is less. Just a half, one median, that is bilaterally symmetrical. That's a zygomorphic symmetry. Okay. Now, superior ovary, inferior ovary, here see, superior ovary looks like this and inferior ovary looks like this. So let's see, superior ovary, inferior ovary. When the ovary is present in the upper position of the thalamus. So it is here. Okay, thalamus is down and it is up. That is the superior ovary. When the margin of thalamus grows inward, when in the thalamus it is growing, the ovary is growing inside the thalamus, that time it becomes inferior. Okay, so superior always G up, inferior always G down. Remember like that. Okay, superior ovary up, inferior ovary down. Remember it like that. Okay, now let's see. Now Fabaceae, this is a family. Okay, I have found 4 families. Mostly in the NCERT book, you'll find 3 families, but there is also a mention of the mustard family, that is Brassica. There are other families also, which are not that important. So I'll just discuss around these 4 families. Out of this, 3 are the most important. So we are discussing about Fabaceae. Trees, shrubs, and these things with root nodules. Stems are erect. Okay, leaves are alternate or pinnately compound or simple or something. Okay, and inflorescence is racemose. Flower is bisexual. When it's bisexual, it will be like this. Okay, zygomorphic, it will be like this. See, so this is the floral formula. Okay, this is the floral formula. So 5 sepals, calyx is C, no sorry, K is 5. Okay, corolla is C, that is 1 plus 2 plus 2. Androecium is 10, A is 10, that is 9 plus 1. And gynoecium is 1, that too ovary superior. Okay, so see, here it is zygomorphic, bisexual, calyx is 5, calyx 5, see here, calyx is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the green part. Corolla is 1 plus 2 plus 2, 1, 2, sepals or petals. Okay, that is 5. Androecium is 9 plus 1, that is 10 here. You see, these are the androecium. Okay, these are the androecium. That is 9 plus 1, that is 10. And finally, superior, that is up, G is up, superior 1. So, this is the Fabaceae family. Okay. Now, what are the importance factors? Okay, what are the families? Okay, what are the families or what are the trees which we have? We have gram, arhar, sem, moong, soya bean and everything. These are all Fabaceae. Okay, and they make help in edible oil. They can be used as dyes, fibers, fodders, ornaments, everything, medicine. Okay, so this is the Fabaceae family. And this is the floral formula. So what you do when you prepare for the exams, you take take these examples, gram, arhar, moong, soya bean, etc. And you remember that and you remember this formula. Okay, all you have to do is remember this formula. That's all. You don't even have to remember until and unless you're preparing for the board exams and all. Board exams also, what you do, you just remember the diagram. That will be all. So both for NEET and board exams, you remember the formula, the diagram, and the examples. And that will be all. You don't have to do anything else. Okay, it's very easy. You think it might be a bit difficult, but it is not. Okay, so let's see. Hello, Priyanka. I'm very glad that you guys joined. Okay. Okay, so next, that was Fabaceae. Now this is Solenoisy, the next family. Okay, as I said, the family changes and the floral formula changes. Whenever the family changes, the floral formula will change. Okay, so this is the Solenoisy. Plants are mostly herbs, shrubs, rarely small trees, sometimes small trees. Okay, and they have alternately simple, rarely pinnately compound leaves and everything. Okay, so see, the flower is bisexual and actinomorphic. So bisexual, just now we learned bisexual and actinomorphic. When it was zygomorphic, it was like this, but this is not zygomorphic, this is actinomorphic. So it is radially symmetrical. Okay, so actinomorphic. Sepals are 5. Okay, sepals or the calyx is 5. Okay, corolla or C is also 5. Androecium is also 5. And superior gynoecium is 2. So can you see here? Actinomorphic, bisexual, calyx 5, corolla 5, androecium 5, gynoecium 2. See, calyx, here calyx, corolla, androecium. See, gynoecium, how to? This one, this one, this is one part, this is second part. So this is how you remember. Actinomorphic, bisexual, calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. Okay, so this is how you remember. Now these are the importance. Okay, and then why did I put importance? Because this has the example: tomato, brinjal, potato, chili, belladonna, tobacco, petunia, nothing. All you have to do is just remember the examples and remember the floral formula. That's all, nothing else. This is just a trick I'm saying. Okay, don't just do it. Don't just like do that much only. This is a trick just to get proper marks in NEET. Okay, the examples and the floral formula. Okay, next, Liliacy. Now, same thing, perennial herbs. Okay, small plants, mostly basal, alternate. These are the leaves. Okay, a flower is bisexual, actinomorphic. The same thing, bisexual. Okay, and actinomorphic. See, bisexual, actinomorphic. These are brassiate also, as in they have that small leafy structure behind it. Okay, so tepal is 3 plus 3. Okay, and that is the perianth. Okay, instead of going for what to say, for the sepals, corolla and calyx, they directly went for the perianth, that is 3 plus 3. Okay, stamen or the androecium is also 3 plus 3. Gynoecium is superior. Okay, so this is how it looks. It's bractate. Okay, so and it's actinomorphic, bisexual. Perianth is 3 plus 3. Androecium is 3 plus 3. And gynoecium is 3 here. And see, this has this thing here. So let's see what it is. See, it is epiphyllous in nature. Okay, now what is epiphyllous? Why? Because so whenever you see this structure, okay, this means it is epiphyllous. So what is epiphyllous? Epiphyllous means anything grows on surface of leaves. Okay, so this is what happens when it is epiphyllous in nature. So Liliacy is epiphyllous in nature. Okay, so this is how it looks. Again, coming back to the examples, there is tulip, gloriosa, aloe, asparagus, colchium autumnale. Okay, so these are the examples for Liliacy. Okay, and the final one is Brassica. Okay, these are ebractate, they don't have that leafy thing. Okay, and sepals is 4. Okay, calyx is 4, corolla is 4. Okay, androecium, okay, 2 plus 4, gynoecium is superior. So like this. See, this is the formula. Ebractate, this is actinomorphic, bisexual, calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. This is how it looks. Okay, so any doubts? Anybody has any doubts? Till now, we learned a lot today. Any doubts, anyone? Okay, so if you don't have any doubts, we'll go into the question and answer. Okay, coconut is what type of fruit? Okay, we have it in behind. If you have read it, if you have listened to me, you'll know coconut is what. Anybody wants to try? Is it a drupe? Is it a capsula? Is it berry? Is it chemocarp? What is it? Okay, let me say. Coconut is a drupe. Okay, coconut is a drupe. Now let's see, why is it a drupe? Okay. See, drupe, one-seeded simple fruit developed from superior ovary, which is innermost portion becomes hard. See, coconut innermost portion becomes hard, outermost becomes thin, and the fleshy one becomes the white portion becomes the fleshy one. So such as cherry, coconut, walnut, etc. So coconut is a drupe. Okay, next question. Gram belongs to which family? Anybody wants to try? Okay, so gram belongs to Fabaceae. Okay, gram belongs to Fabaceae. Gram, moong, arhar, whatever it is, those leguminous plants will depend on the Fabaceae. The tegment of seed develops from the perisperm, funicle, integument, outer integument. Anybody? It is the inner part. I'm saying it is the inner part. Anybody wants to try? Okay, it is the inner integument. So the inner part is from where the tegment develops. Next, seed may be defined as ripened ovule, fertilized ovary, gynoecium, embryo. What is seed? Anybody? This is so simple. Okay, so as I said, the ovary becomes fruit and the ovule becomes seed. Okay, so it is the ripened ovule. Okay, so this is it. Okay, this is the morphology of a flowering plant. This is the last chapter, the part of morphology of flowering plant. After this, we'll be discussing the anatomy, okay, the tissues and the other tissues in the plant, everything that and all we'll be discussing in the next class. Okay, I hope to see you that time also. Okay, thank you for joining us. Bye bye.